So here's something you got to think about if you're a body shop and you're doing your own air conditioning, or anybody doing it for somebody. You have a situation like this where you see the oil stains. It still had some refrigerant in it, but it was low. And it only had like 6 ounces inside the system. And this is not from the accident. These are old O-rings that I got hard and crispy and started to leak. And you know, body shops don't change O-rings 99.9999% of the time. And so I warned them to get O-rings to make sure there is no comebacks and the shop doesn't suffer from a bad reputation, because this is winter time. But if it loses refrigerant through the winter time and then spring or summer comes around and the customer goes to use the car and the AC doesn't blow, who do they blame? Even though, you know, they didn't do this, but they need to be replaced. The condenser is bowed a little bit, took a little bit of hit here, little tiny bit of hit right here, so it'll get replaced with the insurance. Hopefully it doesn't total out the car. It was hit and pushed back here, and there's no collision with, it looks like, looking up inside towards the radiator. It has not been struck, but it has been pushed. Now if you look up here real carefully, I don't know if you can catch it in the camera, but if you look at here and you compare here to the center, this is a plastic tank. It's a metal core. And between the hard plastic, the hard metal, there's a rubber gasket where they do their crimping. This is very old. I don't know if that's high mileage, but the rubber gasket loses its elasticity. And even if there's no damage on the top of the core and it's not cracked or pushed or anything, it's just bowed a little bit, the hard gasket is embrittled. And it's like really old spark plug wires that are 10 or 15 years old. And you get the spark plug wires, and if you get a spark plug wire and you move it out of the way to change the spark plugs, and you reuse the old spark plug wire and you put it back in, it could develop misfire because all the micro cracks in it, by you just moving it, it's brittle and it cracks the carbon core, and then they arc in between and they open up and make gaps, what makes a misfire later on, and you have a comeback from a customer. So this is one where you put it all back together, especially now that it's winter and it's not hot, but now there's a fracture in the plastic of the rubber that is no longer malleable. It doesn't have its elasticity. And so the customer goes out on a hot day, gets really hot, and it starts leaking at the seam, at the plastic where it was bowed, and it's because you didn't change it 5 months earlier. Don't be one of those people. So always try to save, look out for the guys, make sure they bring that up to somebody, because that could come back as a shop comeback as something missed, but it'll blow an engine, overheat an engine. So be careful about that stuff, guys. Just because, the person wants to waive their deductible. I don't see nothing wrong with the radiator. It just has a slight bow in it. Well, guess what's going to happen several months later during the summer? See you guys.